the Big Design Show.
Yes.
We are very, very grateful that you could give us some time. We are into design education. That is ISOT, which is our International School of Trends. So we have come up with these series of the Big Design Show, where we will be in conversation, big designers like you, where we will be inspiring a lot of students and aspiring designers. And through this conversation, we are interested to know about your journey as an architect, as a designer, what personal challenges you faced, how you overcame, and how did you build such a big, organization over the years of your journey.
Yeah, see, I was a very good student. I was very in my childhood. I'm the youngest one in the family. I have two elder brothers and one sister. So I was youngest with the big difference of the what you call age. There is almost 7 years difference with my eldest brother and kind of thing. So I was very studious, and my mom still tells us whenever I used to come back from the school, first thing I will sit down at the OTA outside of the house. I will take out all my notes. I will finish my homework, and then I will enter into the house. That's kind of habit I had. So that's very uncommon. I'm still wondering who taught me something like that. But I was always like that. That I will come home, finish my homework, then get into the house. That's how that things are done with the school, and you are back home. So yes, I wanted to be an architect. I was like there are certain reasons and kind of if you now connect the dots, you realize why it happened. So first is my father. My father is a town planner, but he never practiced as a town planner. But he was a government worker. He was a estate officer and very honest estate officer. And I have seen always my father working also at home for the corporation, and he would come in the evening and come with lots of files, and he will keep on working late night. So I have seen him working. That's how I got into the working. Has become very, like I have seen my father only working. So, and we were from this basic family, government servant family. So yes, but we really enjoy traveling a lot. So my father would always take us somewhere, and very funny thing. I mean, when the budget, you don't have the budget, still it works so wonderful. That's what I learned from my father and my mother and my elder brothers. I mean, I still remember we went to the Somnath, which is in Saurashtra from, so it's Gujarat. And we went in, actually, we didn't have any kind of budget, or I don't know what happened, that my mama, he had friend, or I don't know. So we all went in a rickshaw. Can you believe we went for more than 10 days of trip in a rickshaw? And we had all our, like, it's almost like camping, but the vehicle was the three-wheeler rickshaw, and we managed to go and come back. So that's how it is. And same way, my elder brothers, they were civil engineers. So I always saw them working with a model. And one day I remember very well that he was making beautiful building model, my elder brother. And I said, what are you doing? So he said, this is, we are the engineers, and we build the building, but the actual is the architect who designs the building. So that's where I came to know something word like architect. And I thought it would be good to become an architect. And we were living in the house which was newly built, nice built, designed by some architect, a friend of my father, and we were staying, and it was quite far off city. So all around were all farms. No, it was still developing, and opposite to our house there was another house was coming up, which was exposed brick house, beautiful house. And I always wondered, there were three people used to come, one photographer, and husband and wife, and I was always wondering those three kind of different kind of people, not the one with my family background, but I could sense them, the very intellectual, talking English, thinking and wandering around the building and looking at the building. And I was always watching them, and I was wondering. And they were like a professor of NID, National Institute of Design, Kumar Vyas, and the very legendary photographer, Dasrath Patel. So I saw them, and I thought I could understand that there is something making of building itself is a joy of making. And then that's also become that exposed brick and house. And those are like three influences that my brother, my father, and that our neighbor, that made me to come into architecture. what happened when I gave the interviews at the SAP and everything, all the faculty, they thought you are not going to come in architecture, because nobody will come in architecture when you are getting admission into medical and you are getting admission into the computer science. So they put me on a last waiting list. Actually, they say they like me. They took interview, but they say you are like a very studious boy, student, and they give exam and everywhere, no, because they just want to check how they're good. Finally, you are going to go in medical. So I said, no, no, sir, I really want to become an architect, and that's how I entered into architecture.
So
Yeah.
we find a lot of professionals around us, like you said, that that's your journey to get into the design school. A lot of people are now taking up design as a passion, or or as a something that they have liking for, and are practicing formally as designers in the market. However, we who have studied for so many years and then completed masters also, and we want to know from you that how much do you think is the actual formal design education important in our field, and do you think that non-educated but having an inclination towards design people also practice fairly like we would like to do?
I would definitely say the good institute or where you have study make impact on you for entire your life. So I'm I'm happy that I got admission in the School of Architecture, which is one of the finest architecture college across the globe. And that's the architect Bibi Doshi. He started with his own philosophy and came up with a beautiful building. I mean, building itself is so beautiful, inspiring, and the education system, because they follow the RIBA, Royal Institute of British Architecture, and that's how we were a diploma in architecture, but recognized by RIBA. So always it was, I mean, and Ahmedabad was very known for a good entrepreneur of textile era, and they brought beautiful institute to Ahmedabad. Like if it's a School of Architecture, you can say National Design School of NID of Design, NID. Then we have PRL, that Physical Research Laboratory. We have IIM. So Ahmedabad like was all around with the kind of ISRO, and so ATIRA, and so it was all about the design field and people and good education center when India was just growing. So somehow Ahmedabad got that little kind of flavor. It's mature kind of city in a way in terms of education. I mean, if you think of, let's say, Calcutta, it's always good with music and everything, or if you go Karnataka, it's music, and but somehow Ahmedabad become very sober kind of town with lots of beautiful institute around, and you happen to meet people who are into the kind of creative design field. So I'm definitely say that the education in a good college definitely help you, because it's support you, it's boost you further. If you are good and if you have drive for that, technically doesn't matter, but you have to constantly fight for that, because the back of the mind, you know that I have been graduate, but there are a lot more to learn. Where here, if you are good, you get lots of exposure through your institute. That's how the institute helps you out. So that's the one thing. But that doesn't mean that if you're not gone to the good school or something, if you have drive in today's time, you can still learn a lot from that. But there is a constant struggle. For example, if I put my own example, that I study architecture. So after this of this 30 years plus, I still admire my college education. So that's what the impact is. And when I talk to my senior, also they also talk the same for they talk good about their education in good colleges. So that's the one. But let's say I'm also practicing landscaping design. I am formally not learned from that. So what happened that that's a drive which is bringing me try to work with the nature. But what happened that there is a constant kind of little fear, or you are little conscious that, oh, I am not educated, and somebody, if I come across with the education in our landscape architecture, I will always look at him like a big fatherly figure or the big brotherly figure, and I will be always question that what this guy will think about me if I'm doing. So there is a constant struggle within you, even though people say that you are doing good or something, you still have, because you think that, yeah, I've been not educated. So it's like Eklavya. You do it, but that Eklavya didn't have the courage of like the Arjuna, because Arjuna was learned from the Guru, and this guy also become better than him, but still he didn't have the formal education. So that kind of feeling happens. So that's what. But that doesn't mean, I mean, you keep on working, and we have wonderful example of people who has not formally educated in that field, but created beautiful work. But that's very rare. So good institute really helps you out to format you well. So that's, I would definitely say that try to get admission the best of best. Never compromise on that if you are able to get in. So that's one. And yes, I remember the four serious studies is equally important. Doesn't matter how good you are in your language or something, but constantly work and slowly you realize you are doing really good. I will give one example about, education that, see, for our field, drawing ability is very important. And that's I was, and I kept on improving wherever the taking kind of elective subjects for 2 years in architecture. I ended up doing all 5 years. So all 10 semester I took that. I don't know who taught me, but then what happened that because of doing that, technically I almost become like a fine art student because along with my architecture, because I study under the one of the finest painter called Piraji Sagra. And after second year, nobody would go to him, but I always took my elective subject for painting. So it was one-to-one tuition to me in a way, and it was so wonderful. And then all 5 years, I never give up the painting. And that's how actually, if I look at now the formal education of the fine arts people, I technically did the it's very similar kind of study during my architecture. It technically become like a dual degree in a way. So that's which is helping me today itself. Even though if I go to site and I draw the sketch in front of the client, people think, yeah, how fast you are and how good it. I mean, what I say, it's like art has become artless. That's what that's what I'm trying to do. That it should come within your it's in entire ritual or in your lifestyle living, that no more art should be you have to say I'm doing art. Art should be embedded in yourself. So that's what it is. I mean, I did remember by my second year where there was history of architecture, and I had really struggled with understanding the language of English because I was from Gujarati medium education in school, formal education. So I was having a little struggle in that. And one of my friend called Professor Santanu Jana, he's a professor in the Navrachna school at Baroda, and he used to taught me after the classes in Gujarati. He used to translate for me. He was such a wonderful friend, and I could actually understand what exactly the class was. In class, it was taught. But when we had exam, I remember I didn't know what to write because it was I had to write in English. So what happened that whatever I understood 100% through the translation from my friend, exam I could understand all the questions so well, but I didn't know how to write it. So what I did, I sketched it out. I entire my answer book was completely sketched with 3D plans, section, elevation, and jot like small points regarding the characters. For example, if they ask the Byzantine architecture versus Christian architecture, what are so I didn't know, but I know exactly what it is. So I draw all the sketches of the churches of Byzantine architecture, churches of the Christianity time, no. So I thought I will clear my exams, no. Hopefully, that was the after a week, the professor Kulbhushan Jain, very good architect from the SEPT, he was teaching also in SEPT. He came with my answer book and he just opened up. And I was so scared. I said, my God, like he said, what is nonsense you have done? And he said, look at the answer book of this Hiren Patel. This is the answer book of an architect. This is the way one should answer. And it was 100 out of 100 marks. So that's such a wonderful thing. But yeah, so I would definitely say the good institute helps you a lot. Even though I went in exchange program to Switzerland for ETH, the ETH College of Zurich in Switzerland, I had lots of inspiration from there, and I learned how sincere the Swiss people and Swiss students are. So even I studied, let's say, for 6 months over there, not even 6 months, 3-4 months, and over there, still I have impact of those beautiful times. So definitely, good college helps you a lot.
We do see a lot of your paintings and sketches through your posts, and we always admire it. And we feel that you also use it a lot in your landscape, in your projects, in your courtyard houses, and name it so well. So I'm sure that everybody understands the importance of having the skill of sketching or through art. So, sir, did you always think after passing out that you'll have your own practice and you would want to build an organization, and it is this far that you will go?
Yeah, I would say yes, definitely. I wanted to work with my own way. So that's what happened. But it's false by that. I mean, I really wanted. I was after graduation. I went to Switzerland again, and I was working. I was very happy to go. Not like I was earning little bit, and I was traveling across the Europe and everything, and where I was working, people were also very happy. So it was a good time in there for a year in Switzerland. Then I was getting opportunity to work in Egypt, and I was really excited about it. No? So, but what happened that my brothers are in civil engineers, and they are one of the reputed builders of city also today. So they were coming up with a huge real estate project, and they say, okay, Hiren, you need to now come down and you need to work for our project. And they said this is like kind of opportunity for you to work also. So then I came back, and that's how I ended up starting my own practice straight away. Otherwise, I wanted to maybe go for masters, or still I wanted to work somewhere. I wanted to explore the world. But this opportunity kind of came, and it forced me to get into the field immediately. So there was no thinking behind, and I had no scope of that. I had to work upon, and then it was almost like 700 apartment project, starting with your one of the first project in your life. It's become lots of responsibility. So I started working and started with working from home, and had a one drafting person, and slowly we built up some architect friend who also joined for a while, who were studying and they were helping out. That's how the practice started, and yeah, then slowly it was. So I was always, there was always kind of thinking came in between that there are not good offices which are huge, like like American firms. There are hundreds and hundreds of people working, and it's like an institute altogether. Versus there are few offices, they are work fantastically, but very boutique kind of office. So that's where struggling always came in between, that what kind of the practice you want to carry. So definitely the second one was always a preferred one, because today the most enjoyable time for me is to sit on the drafting board and make a drawing of design or whatever on computer, your dashboard. Basically, the best joy comes when you are alone with your dashboard, and that's where the real enjoyment come. Now, those percentage of that time is little less, because you have so much of responsibility to managing projects. So but actually working like still like architect, fresh architect, I enjoy the most. So that's where you have to have the kind of boutique office versus the huge office and managing the things. So that's what it is happening. But I sometimes I still admire the office of Norman Foster, that even they are very big, they are still work like a boutique office. So there are good examples which keeps you inspiring you. But definitely yes, we will try to do the best of work rather than the volume of the work. Or if even it goes on volume, our main drive is to bring the best quality, because I mean, we say we are accountable and we can't take the architecture for a fun or kind of thing. I mean, so many people are living forever, and we have to design something which stays for years altogether, and we are accountable for that. So that's where the sincerity to the work has to be prime.
So, sir, what is
Yeah.
the toughest part
So
of running an organization would be?
yeah, I would say that we are in a profession, and in India we work with emotions. So in profession, emotion doesn't work. I still have the tears in the eye at the end of the day, because of the people are so demanding, and you have failed in terms of fulfilling their requirements, and it literally makes you cry. I mean, I said that tears comes in eye with me, with our staff for some time. Now we feel real like that, because people are so demanding that they are not ready. And just try to imagine from starting from ground zero, where there is nothing, and you're, let's say, making a house for somebody, you're working till the end of cushion cover and quilts and bedspread. And if you fail in, let's say, selection of bedspread, they remember for entire life, and they will say that you didn't give your attention to my house. Now look at, if I'm not able to get the right color of the cushion cover, compared to the entire project of making house from architecture to interior to landscape design, this is 0.001 percentage, but people want 100% from that. And that's where they keep you so much of tense and kind of thing. So that's what it is. But I love that that's a challenge, and the people have so much of trust and so much of faith. So they want your attention in every part of it, which which is beyond than is a human figure, and you have to manage that. So there where the real struggle comes, managing office and working. If you have drive for that, if you don't have drive for that, then it's easy. So I do remember what happened many times, that our clients and our, let's say, I mean, obviously you have a team of talented people in your office, so they are working and taking forward for that project. So the I would say the team leader for the project. So many times what happened that the team leader for project and the clients are very happy. And as an architect, I still, as a designer, I still want that project to be improved much more than what it is at the moment. So now project is live, and if I put my analysis, I say, oh, this is, I would rate around 20-25%. We still need to improve 75%. Now I can't tell my designers and I can't tell my client, because if I tell my client, he will say, oh my God, that means he will get confused and conscious about the whole thing. And if I tell my the team designers, they feel, sir, they are all are happy, we all are happy, and you are saying, so no, there's a big frustration comes. So there, I mean, I kept on working silently, and I keep on motivating the team. So that they also feel, oh, we are doing wonderful things. But at the moment, I know that, come on, guys, we need to improve upon. So that's where I kept on working, and that's how. It's architecture is little cushioning, because you have a little duration of time, around let's say 1.5 years to 3 years of project. So we don't give up, and then slowly, like, try to achieve the level we want. Many times you feel I would have done even further better. So yeah, that's a challenge. Number two is, yes, I mean, the design is the one part, but managing office is the second part. So that's where you have to work with the managers, and you have to work like designers. So that's become very tough, especially you are not with partnership with somebody, and you don't have anybody from family who are helping you out. Everything becomes, you have to become master of everything, and that's where you end up working a lot. So what you realize that you calm down your thing, and you work as a manager for a while, and then again you have to come back to your creative field and work. So that's what it is.
So that's very interesting, and that's actually our next question. How do you deal with it when there is a project which is completely done and you feel that you could have done much better? Does it happen to big architects like you, or does it happen to us? Because when it all comes together, there is the joy of seeing it, yet there is that little dash of, I wish I could have done this better. So does that ever cross your mind, or how do you deal with it if it does?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, all the projects, when you see, and as the time passes, you constantly keep on watching what you have done. So yes, many projects you feel, oh, I could have done better, or maybe yeah, this is good result, but still I could have worked. Or maybe you are very happy with that project, but suddenly you come across, let's say, some news of some architecture project somewhere, and you say, oh, I could have done that. For example, let's say we designed a beautiful house in Surat. We call it a village house. It also went to the World Architecture Festival, was shortlisted out of, no, I mean, they shortlist 10 best entries for the project, and then they take your juries and everything, and then they select the finally one. So let's say across that category, across the globe, I'm sure 300 plus people must have given, and then we were shortlisted for 10. We didn't get the first prize, but still it's a kind of, you feel happy about. And when you talk with the architects there, they also give you comments, and that's what learning was there. So it was a beautiful house, and we say it was inspired for the villages of Gujarat where the client came from, and we tried to design that house with the inspiration of that. So I was like giving, I really like that the platform of the Triple ID platform now for award winning. So award ceremony, they also take this kind of your jury about your design. So you have been shortlisted, and then you are called, and then you have to give answers. So what happened that I was there in Bangalore, where I was a part of some jury, but at the same time for this project I had to answer. So I was like a opposite of jury. So jury also really felt so nice. Kaj Hiren ka barabar lete hai, no? Because he has come like he has to answer in front of us. So they were very critical compared to the young architects, because they really want to raise the bar for the entire standard. So they will become very strict where the person who is doing, let's say, so technically something better, he will try to achieve harder. Person is a little weak, they won't put that much on that. That's how the jury happens. So I was explaining about this project, and they said, "Okay, come on, you have beautiful house, you have designed something nice." But one of the judges said that, "Hiren, you say the village house." And I have gone to most of the village house. They have nice ota, out of the house you have nice, beautiful ota and steps in Rajasthan, everything. Where are those otas? And I say, oh my God, I say, I wish I have met you 2 years ago. I have brought that element of design in this house. So now every time I go to that house, everybody admire, everybody is happy, clients are so happy. But every time I go and I say, oh, if we have kept that OTA in this project, it would have been no, icing on the cake kind of thing. So that's what kept on happening. But that's how, yeah, you keep on checking on that. And if you think it's possible, okay, if you are working on similar project next time, you incorporate those elements.
That's a very positive way of looking at it, sir. Also, what would you like to tell young architects, or even, if you spend a decade in your architecture practice, there still might come up time where you are kind of looking for the next project, which is yet to come. So that gap in between, architects often tend to lose it in terms of their patience, their creativity, and, they are sometimes scared, how will they go forward? What message would you give to every architect who is probably going through that break between two projects?
Right. Okay. So I would say that there's a sheer hard work is there, and don't give up. So don't give up your sincerity to work and learning. So yes, maybe you have a little gap between the one project to the next project, but that's also a kind of advantage, that keep on working on the project which you are working, even though it doesn't fall in your, let's say, service. For example, that let's say if you're working on that and if you're liking for the landscaping, just get into and keep on working, even though clients are not paying, or they formally you are not supposed to, or there's already a landscape architect is involved there. Just be a kind of a colleague and be a part of that team and try to understand. So that what happens is eventually you learn us something more, and that's where your creativity will keep on floating. Otherwise, I can imagine that yeah, sometimes it's become kind of little sad and frustrating that no, you have done work which you had designed in early practice. Definitely, as I said, even after practice such, I think I get tears in eye. I can imagine the being a young practitioner, you have been taking advantage by the clients. So no, I mean, they are paid less. You are they will take you for granted, and there are so many things will happen. So that's a part of life. So don't carry personally and keep working and try to see that if your wish is there to do the good thing, I mean, eventually your client will listen to you. And in those time, I mean, just keep on working in small those kind of detail which perhaps doesn't fall into your things, but keep on doing. Let's say, for example, we are working with aluminum window person. If he will come and fit up the window, but then if your time, just try to develop some handles for them and something, work with that. So that's eventually you become like a little product designer. So I mean, you have to keep your creativity floating, even you are having lack of new projects or new work. Keep busy, and that's a beauty for our architecture, that one can end up working on a house for years and still there's so much to do. So that's how one should do. Yeah.
That's wonderful, sir. We also would like to know what is that one design, I would say not mistake, but a fault or a design flaw that you wish you wouldn't have done in your career, or probably you have learned and grown out of it. Many a times we see architects, when they do that one mistake, or something comes across in the project, it kind of shatters their confidence, especially if the client is saying something, or if the colleagues are saying something, or we do come across these glitches in our careers. So do you think that have you ever made that kind of a mistake which you wish you wouldn't have, or have you grown out of it?
Okay. Immediately it is not coming straight into mind. So looking at that way, yes, perhaps mistakes are definitely done by everybody. So also done by us, but it doesn't come straight in the mind. That means that so-called typical mistake where clients are suffering has perhaps not happened yet, or maybe if it has happened, it has not got communicated to us. But I remember that many projects which I thought we should do like this, and I tried to convince client a lot. I mean, I remember when I came back and I had this 700 apartment project, which was huge commercial project, and people would really look with a doubt on you, because at our time the working for the builders was also not something of pride, no. So people were really wondering, and especially for in my case, it was even said, because I mean, no, because my faculty were saying, come on, you are such a wonderful architect and you are end up doing for builders. And I had really no idea, being a young architect. I was really wondering that whether this is a mistake I'm doing or what, no. So I remember that I had designed something beautiful, and there was kind of play area, common community, where there are no cars and everything was there. And somehow I couldn't convince the client, even though they were my brothers, because of they wanted to have more benefit of that, or there was a practice wall around. They have to also do that, otherwise their profitability may not work and the project may not become viable. So they end up making some apartment in ground floor with their private gardens, where I was saying that let's not make the ground floor apartment and keep the periphery for circular vehicle traffic movement, and center part of the part will become completely vehicle free kind of space where everybody can come down and enjoy. Now, after I would say 15, 18 years, 20 years, I did another project for them, and that's what exactly we did. And that project has become so popular in the city. And even today, in this red brick, it is fetching the highest rent. So it has been successful in terms of usability, kind of in terms of environment, in terms of community living. And I tell my brother, look, this I was telling some 20 years ago, and you didn't agree with me. And I tried to smoke a cigarette in front of them also, to make them emotionally blackmailing them that if you're not going to agree my design, I'm going to keep on smoking and I'm going to become a smoker. And still that thing didn't work. And finally they did what they wanted to do. So even I mean, I go back to this project, and somehow I really wonder, because I want to check. And in that, my first project where so many people, I was really getting afraid that how I, as a designer, so we can manage, because such a young architect and working with the life of so many people. I still go back, and somehow people are very happy there. Yes, I now those time, and now there are so many cars and everything. They are still managing parking and everything. But what I realized that the basic plan of those apartments had a wonderful light and air happening, and that's how people are very happy. So yes, but yes, I still feel that we could have done what we thought, but it was difficult because people didn't conceive that idea. And that's happening the same thing. The same my builder, after that's a 30 years project, we are working on new project for them. And I came up with the idea with a beautiful forest, oxygen forest, we give the name, and creating terrace like that for community of another, I would say, for 350 apartment project. I work, and I just express, and the single line they say it's not possible because we don't have that much of budget of making extra lift to go on 22nd floor. And yes, it's a good idea, but we are not. So no, it's again, you feel, oh my God, I mean, still you are struggling so hard that you want to do something good for them, good for the end users, and for the builder, you're still struggling because the new idea they are not able to digest well, and there are so much of maths and everything is happening. So you have to really balance that thing, and you don't have to carry that in mind, but also you don't have to forget about that.
So if you were not an architect, what would you be?
A computer engineer. I still regret that I could have gone in a computer science rather than architecture.
Why do you regret,
Because
sir? You are such a
yeah.
successful organization.
Right. Because perhaps I feel the impact of our computer science in terms of it goes in mass scale. I mean, if it's like simple that let's say you design some nice device, or if you design nice application, it happens. It connects to the crores and crores of people of life. That's what it is. Where architecture is still very tiny kind of thing. It like you design for somebody, and so that's scalability in computer science is the one which which is something which I think not possible in architecture, definitely. So that's where I think the it excites me a lot to go into the field. I mean, of computer science. Yeah.
So 20 years from now, how do you want people to look at the legend, the HPA architects? What are the few, like today we read about the 5 principles of master architects, or, some theory of a master architect. When we look back at your firm, what is it that you would like to leave behind as a legacy?
I would say the architecture or the design which is created, which was very uh, connect to the nature. That's where we have been working. So I would say timelessness, quality, and the connection to the nature. That's where people should. I would say that people should try to see the project, and I hope it works forever. And second is like a versatility, that it doesn't matter that you have to fall in one style. You just do whatever the clients love, and try to bring this nature into their living, and the timeless quality. So these are the two aspects I would say uh, still working, and that if that's endless. I mean, till your end of life, you keep on working with. It's not every new wisdom you again realize that there are a lot more to learn about it. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you for your time from the Big Design Show. We are really grateful that you could take out the morning hours and share it with us. You have inspired us so much, and I'm sure that moving forward, it's going to inspire many students and many design aspirants to, because so many people look up to you, and the projects that you have created, the organization that you have created, actual theory that you have created. So you inspire so many people. Probably when you sit back, you wouldn't even know how many people and how many students are going through your projects, going through your pages, and getting inspired. So thank you so much for inspiring us, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Bye bye.
See you.
Bye
Bye.
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 See you. Bye bye. Thank you.